I completely agree with you that authors are very naive.
Days past, they used to take advantage of this inexperience and naivety and fill the authors' heads with false promises and visions of pots of gold, and you're going to be the next Mark Twain, and in reality, they were just taking people's money away.
Right.
I mean, what's the difference between those publishers and, well, let's say the majority of what I see, the POD publishers that are out there today? This is Ron Pramshafer, and welcome to Publish Basics Radio, where weekly we try to help you navigate the self-publishing minefield. You're in a position of being my last interview of like the big three print-on-demand publishers.
Yeah.
So in an effort to not repeat a whole lot of material, is it safe to say that iUniverse, Author House, and Ex Libris follow pretty much the same publishing model?
Actually, I'd say no.
Okay. Explain.
And I will explain. iUniverse, unlike Author House and Ex Libris, its business model is based on book sales. So many of the service providers make their money through the upfront services and charge very high fees. iUniverse's fees are more reasonable because we really make our money at the back end with book sales. And in that respect, we're more like a traditional publisher.
Excellent. Now, one of the first interviews I did was a fellow named Dave Maturo, was from Ex Libris.
Yes.
And he pointed out iUniverse as, being more discriminating in manuscripts, or they take a look. He made it sound more like a regular publisher, that you don't, just publish everybody's whole book. Is that right?
No, that's not right. We have a completely democratic approach. Anyone can pay the fee and publish with us within, ethical limits. We, though, really try to educate authors about the factors that are important in commercial success. So we place a much greater emphasis on editorial quality and offer editorial services. We offer marketing services at the back end that are more in line with what traditional publishers offer. And again, both of those are designed to push book sales, which is obviously where we make our money. So we are, as I said, completely democratic. Everyone has an equal chance to succeed, and we try to educate authors on what it does take to succeed in the commercial marketplace.
Okay, yeah, because I don't think he meant it as much as a negative, because then when I asked at the end of the interview, I said, who do you think is going to be around 10 years from now? He mentioned iUniverse, and then he mentioned another one I thought was, fairly odd, because I don't know that much about them, a place called Publish America.
Right.
Are they like you guys?
No, not at all. Publish America is actually like Author House or Ex Libris, but they pretend to be a traditional publisher. They don't charge fees up front. They say that they are like a traditional publisher, but really they offer nothing but the design and printing and some distribution for the book. They say they do traditional marketing. They say they get into bookstores. They absolutely do not.
Oh, okay. Sounds like somebody I ought to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, size-wise, between Author House, iUniverse, Ex Libris, where do you guys stack up?
We're, in terms of number of titles each per month, we're the second largest. Author House is the largest.
Author House is number one, you're number two, and Ex Libris is number three.
Yes.
Yet, as I get into this, under number of sales per title,
yes,
which is a little misleading, but the number of sales, average number of sales per title, you're up top with 200 copies.
That's right.
Ex Libris seems to be like 165. And anyway I do the math at Author House, I come up with about 100 copies.
Right.
So you may have already answered. I was going to say, why do you think iUniverse is higher?
We put a lot more emphasis on teaching authors how to sell books, providing them the resources that they need. And again, we do it because our model is based on book sales. We sell about twice as many books through retail channels than our competitors.
Okay. In a conversation that came up the other day, a group up is sitting around, he's got these thousands or tens of thousands of authors out there that are gravitating to these various publishing services around.
Yes.
And we're trying to figure out what one word was to, kind of sum them all up, what one characteristics all of these all people have. And the word we came up with was naive.
I would agree with that.
And all that they're all very, very trusting.
Yes.
They very, for whatever reason, when they find whoever it is they find, they're like sold.
Yes.
They're just like, waiting to be led, waiting to be, waiting to be told what to do.
It sounds like they're being led to slaughter. I don't think that's true at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, but they're looking. I mean, once they've picked out, it seems like once they've picked out a company, they're really looking for you to have the expertise to send them in the right direction.
No question about that.
Okay, and I look like the traditional vanity press back from where the days past. Okay, they used to take advantage of this inexperience and naivety, and fill the authors' heads with false promises and visions of pots of gold, and you're going to be the next Mark Twain, and in reality, they're just taking people's money away.
Right.
I mean, what's the difference between those publishers and, well, let's say the majority of what I see, the POD publishers that are out there today?
Well, I can't really speak to the majority of POD publishers. I can only speak to iUniverse and what we're trying to accomplish. I completely agree with you that authors are very naive. That publishing is much more complicated than people understand. And so unless an author really understands the publishing landscape, how traditional publishers work, what it takes to get into bookstores, people have big dreams and a lot of hope, and great expectations. And we find that if we don't educate people up front, if we don't really help them understand how the business works and how we fit into it, that the author's going to have an unhappy experience at the end, and we don't want that. So we place a huge amount of emphasis on upfront education, helping people to really understand the publishing landscape and how companies like iUniverse give people a chance, but don't replace traditional publishers in any way.
Okay, now notice you've been around the publishing industry a few years, huh?
Just one or two.
Huh? Tell me, just a little bit.
25 years.
25 years.
Yes.
All right, and you've worked all different levels. Like, did you start out as like a copy editor or something?
I actually started out on the academic side in sales, and was a developmental editor, and then an acquisitions editor. And I've been in marketing, I've been in new media, I've been in operations. I've been just about in every possible job in publishing.
That you can be in publishing. You think all this experience you have in publishing would make you very good at running an auto body shop?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I better stick to where I am.
Okay, because I say, I'm looking over your, like the rest of your board of directors.
Right.
I see you got a couple of bean counters in there, but for the most part, you've got people with heavy-duty publishing experience.
Absolutely.
So it's like you are, it seems like you really are a publisher.
We are a publisher, but we're a very, very different type of publisher. When people say publisher, they think of Random House or Knopf or HarperCollins, and we offer the same services, but we're very different. We're kind of a new breed of publisher.
Okay, because the reason I'm bringing this all up, I had the opportunity the other day to talk to the president of Author House.
Yes.
And you said he was the large Author House is the largest POD publisher around. They've got 20,000, 25,000. They got a lot of people relying on them. But I did the same sort of search on their executive profile as I did with you.
Yes.
And I couldn't find a day of publishing experience between the 6 executives that they had listed.
Right.
I don't see them as being any better equipped to run a legitimate publishing company as you are to run an auto body shop. And they're like the largest around.
Look, obviously I think that having publishing experience and hiring people with publishing experience is very, very important. It's what our company is built on. I think that many companies in our space started, quite frankly, as technology companies. It was all about the print-on-demand technology and an emphasis on the printing piece of it and not as much of an emphasis on the publishing piece of it. And that's how iUniverse is really trying to differentiate itself by focusing on the publishing and not just the printing and distribution.
Yeah, because it seems like the other way, has proven so far they can, make more money. You've proven you can make more, you can sell more books.
Right.
Now, if I'm an author, I really want to sign up so I can sell books.
Right.
Not that selling 200 copies is setting the world on fire. I mean, the goal is to try to, help people sell more books.
Right.
What do you think is the biggest single factor that's getting in the way?
Well, I think that when you're looking at averages, it's very difficult to get a fair understanding of how the business works because we have many authors who literally are just writing a book or publishing a book for their family. So, those authors will buy 20 copies, 25 copies, and, there are many authors who don't want to sell books, and IUniverse or any of the providers are good for those authors.
Okay.
Then there are people who do want to achieve wider commercial success. And again, when you're looking at averages, you average the 10 copy sellers with the 1,000 copy sellers, and you end up with an average about 200. But we have a number of authors who sell 500 to 800 copies a year, which, again, when you're thinking about traditional publishing and hoping to be on the bestseller list, that doesn't sound like a lot of copies. But any published author will tell you that getting to the hurdle of 100,000 copies or even 20,000 copies is it's a high hurdle, and selling 1,000 or 1,500 copies a year is actually you're not going to make yourself rich, but you're going to touch a lot of readers that way.
Okay, so the difference, though, between the people that want to be successful and the people that are actually successful, that's another big fall off, right?
That's a big fall off, and we're very open with authors that we consider ourselves a good place to get started. We are trying to position IUniverse as a farm team for traditional publishers. If you are good at marketing, if you have a quality product, you're going to be much more apt to get traditional publisher attention once you have some sort of a track record, and we can help you do that. But, when a book starts to sell 5,000 copies, then traditional publishers all of a sudden are interested in it and generally will pick it up from us.
Okay, now I picked up this little tidbit out of Publishers Weekly the other week that I'm sure you've read that gives kind of a rundown of IUniverse.
Yeah.
They've got you down as having 18,000 titles that you published in 2004?
That's right. Well, not that we published in 2004, that are active titles that we have in print.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's a year to date. I mean, that's since the beginning of time, 18,000.
That's right.
Okay, and then the one here, they've got like 83 as a number that was sold at least 500 copies, and
right.
You told me that was wrong.
That actually is wrong. We have 83 titles in our STAR program, but many, many thousands of titles that have sold over 500 copies. So they took the number of STAR titles. One of the criteria for the STAR program is that a title has to have sold 500 copies. And in the article, they misquoted and said that was STAR
just
title.
the number.
Right.
Okay, over 500. Now, this is where it gets a little trickier now. They've got that you printed, I guess, last year, 792,814 books.
Right.
Okay, so if you divide that by the big number, that only comes out to like 44 copies.
Well, right, but you can't divide that because, again, we have deep backlist titles that sell maybe 2 or 3 copies a year. So you can't take all the number of books in print and for the company and divide by how many units are sold because, again, they're deep backlist. We have a very big back and print program with the Author Guild. These books might sell 2 or 3 copies a year, but they're available and will always be available to readers who wish to purchase them. And that's the beauty of print on demand.
Okay. So now another number here that they talk about, which seemed, very small to me. Okay, the number of books sold through Barnes & Noble bricks and mortar store.
Right.
Okay, they said it's 14. Now, that's 14 out of the 83 that made it into the STAR program, I assume.
No, that's actually 14 titles that have had national distribution in Barnes & Noble stores. And again, Barnes & Noble buys a lot of books for local stores or even regionally, so they don't make it onto that national distribution list, but they do make it into stores. But, I'm very upfront with authors that if you want to be in Barnes & Noble at a national level, you have to be traditionally published. It's very, very. That's what traditional publishers do. That's really.
It gets you in Barnes & Noble.
Well, it gets you into all the chains. The value they provide to authors is that national distribution into retail outlets.
But you're partially owned by Barnes & Noble, aren't you?
We are. Yes.
So so if Barnes & Noble can't get you in Barnes & Noble, you're in trouble. Now I've got one last question. This is an email that I just got about 5 minutes ago, and you may have answered it for me.
Okay.
And all. This is from a Marine, okay, in the 3rd Marine Division. Okay, dear sir, I'm trying to help a friend find information to get a poetry book published. He only wants one book, just a copy for himself.
Yes.
How would we go about doing that? I'd be grateful for any help. Now, is this somebody that I would send to iUniverse?
You absolutely could send that person to iUniverse. We have a package that would be perfect for him. That's just $299. It's called our Fast Track package, and it's a professionally published book. It's not available on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, but they can be purchased one at a time from our website. But absolutely, there are other sources that may be less than $299, but that's a perfect candidate for print on demand and for the kind of services that we offer.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me today.
You're welcome.
For Publishing Basics Radio, this is Ron Crampshafer. See you next week.